Well, good afternoon again, everybody. And this conference is soon to be drawing to a close, but of course, it's great to be able to sit down one-to-one here with a very special guest to talk about misinformation, particularly in the case of Cyprus. So good afternoon, and good afternoon to you too.
Good afternoon.
I will be the moderator for this. We don't have a lot of time, but we'll see how much we can get through. And as we've seen throughout this summit, the words misinformation, disinformation, whatever you want to call it, but it's the wrong information one way or another, is littering these conversations and dialogues about where AI is going particularly, and communication in general. And it's something that has really dogged the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. It's been a problem for you in terms of the peace process and how you get your voices heard, how you get your message across. Would you say that was fair?
Yes, thank you. To begin with, I should point out that it's very fitting that I am the last speaker, because the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is unlike any other country that has sat here for the past 2 days. Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. I don't know how many in the audience is aware of the existence of a country called the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. I don't know how many in the audience are aware of the realities of what's called the Cyprus problem. I'm sure one way or another, many of you must have heard by now a problem called the Cyprus problem. And presumably, the international community is very busy, again, presumably, trying to solve the Cyprus problem. I claim that the international community is not at all interested in solving the Cyprus problem. It is the international community itself that has created the Cyprus problem. And the international community having the wrong definition of what's called the Cyprus problem. If I were to ask the audience, how do you define the Cyprus problem? What do you think the Cyprus problem is? I am sure most of them will give us an answer that's in one way or another in line with how the Greek Cypriot side presents the Cyprus problem. Well, it's not. That's exactly where we come in today, disinformation, misinformation, and it is that disinformation and misinformation that we, the Turkish Cypriot people, have been struggling with for the past 61 years. The Cyprus problem, my dear friends, is nothing other than the treatment of the Greek Cypriot state as if it is the Republic of Cyprus. All the countries represented here, with the exception of the Republic of Turkey, recognizes a purely Greek Cypriot state as if it is the Republic of Cyprus. The Republic of Cyprus was established in 1960 as a partnership republic between the Turkish Cypriot and Greek Cypriot peoples on the basis of political equality. This republic ceased to exist 3 years later, as of December 1963, and it turned into a purely Greek Cypriot state. How? Very simply, Greek Cypriots, by force of arms, attacking the Turkish Cypriot partner and turning what used to be a partnership republic into a purely Greek Cypriot republic by kicking us, the Turkish Cypriot people, from all governmental and state machinery. And the minute the international community, the United Nations Security Council, decided to allow the Greek Cypriots to pretend to be the so-called Republic of Cyprus, that's the minute the Cyprus problem was created. In other words, dear friends, the Cyprus problem is a problem that has been created by the United Nations Security Council P5, Permanent 5, and it is a problem that is still on the international agenda thanks to the United Nations Security Council P5. In addition to them, since 2004, we have the European Union dimension. Now, all of these actors misrepresent the Cyprus problem to the rest of the world. That is what I meant earlier when I said any country represented here, with the exception of Turkey, recognizes a so-called Greek Cypriot state on the island of Cyprus. It is as if it is the Partnership Republic of 1960. It isn't. And because the Greek Cypriots have been allowed to pretend to be the Republic of Cyprus, they have been given the opportunity to implement all sorts of embargoes and restrictions against the Turkish Cypriot people, which are still in effect today. And that is why it is their propaganda machine that dishes out the misinformation and disinformation that's heard by the rest of the world. And our attempts to respond to that by trying to represent the reality and not the wrongs of Cyprus, we are not heard. Nobody is willing to listen to the Turkish Cypriot side of the story. Why? Because presumably there is a state that is sitting in the UN General Assembly as if it is the Republic of Cyprus, a state that is a member of the European Union, and the state speaks and says the Turkish Cypriots are an ethnic secessionist minority of the island of Cyprus. My dear friends, Turkish Cypriot people have never been an ethnic secessionist minority of a Hellenic Cyprus. The island of Cyprus has never been a Hellenic island. Quite to the contrary. The island of Cyprus was part of the Ottoman Empire for over 300 years. It is this magnitude of distortion of reality that we are struggling against. But it's not made easy by the international community. Only the Republic of Turkey recognizes our state, the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. There are UN Security Council resolutions that are used against us. That is why I said it's the UN Security Council that has created the Cyprus problem.
You talked a little bit about, before this session to me, about the unconventional methods of communication that North Cyprus is having to adopt to get its message across. Can you give us a sense of some of the detail about what they are?
Well, very traditional, very conventional methods. Not that those are the only exclusive methods we use. We are also into strategic communication, digital diplomacy, AI, yes. What I'm trying to get across is, because every speaker that has sat here has spoken already in detail about strategic communication, digital diplomacy, AI, yes. The difference with us is, no matter how effective we may use those tools, those channels, everything depends on the political willingness of the international community to correct their mistake. Mistake being recognizing the Greek Cypriots as if it is the Republic of Cyprus. Dear friends, the name Cyprus is not the name of a state. The name Cyprus is the name of an island, 40 miles south of Turkey. Yet on this island, there are two national peoples, Turks and Greeks, and two sovereign equal states on the same island. One island, two states. It is this reality that is overlooked, intentionally overlooked by the international community. Intentionally. Not because they are not aware of what was wrong with the island when the Greek Cypriots destroyed the partnership. The international community, what it has achieved is to reward the aggressor, the Greek Cypriots, and to punish the victim, the Turkish Cypriots. Dear friends, we are not the ones who disrupted the partnership of the Republic of Cyprus. We were happy with the partnership of 1960 because it gave to us enough security to be happy with it. What were those tools? It was political equality. It was guaranteed by our motherland, Turkey. Turkish troops were to be stationed on the island. Turkey had the right to intervene unilaterally in case something went wrong. So these were the essential characteristics of the Republic of Cyprus of 1960, and we were quite happy with it. But it was the Greek Cypriots who were not happy with this, because in their vision, wrong as it may be, the island of Cyprus is a Hellenic island, and the Turkish Cypriots cannot be their equals on the island. That at best, we should be an ethnic minority of Hellenic Cyprus. So if you talk to Greek Cypriots and their supporters, they will try to explain the Cyprus problem this way. They will say it's a problem that began in 1974. It's a problem that began in 1974 with the Turkish invasion, military invasion, and it's a problem that continues because of Turkish continued occupation. This is the problem they describe to the rest of the world. This has nothing to do with the Cyprus problem. If this were true, then somebody should try to explain to us why then there have been UN peacekeeping forces on the island since 1964. Yes, in 1974 there was a war, but that was not the beginning of the Cyprus problem. That was as a result of the Cyprus problem, because the Greek Cypriots, with the assistance of the military junta in Athens, had staged a coup d'etat on the island, and they claimed to the rest of the world that union with Greece had been established, because that's the vision of the Greek Cypriots, to unite Cyprus with their motherland, Greece. So when this was declared in July 1974, after the Greek Cypriot coup, Turkey, because it was and still is a guarantor of the island, intervened in order to prevent the annexation of the island by Greece and in order to prevent the total annihilation of the Turkish Cypriot population on the island. So the Cyprus problem does not begin in 1974. The Cyprus problem, in its latest history, begins in 1963 with the armed attack against us by the Greek Cypriots to kick us out of the government and the state and monopolize what was a partnership republic of 1960. So, again, perhaps I should apologize that I am talking about something that you did not expect to hear, perhaps, that I should be talking more in line with strategic communication, digital diplomacy, AI. Yes, we are implementing these as well, and that is one of the reasons why me and my colleagues are here, because we want to learn more, and we want to be able to implement our communication more effectively. But the critical point in this is, irrespective of how influentially we can implement these new tools, everything depends on the political willingness of the international community to come to terms with the realities of the island of Cyprus and not to allow the Greek Cypriots to get away with murder. The island of Cyprus, my dear friends, is the common home of Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots. Unlike what the Greek Cypriots see the island, as if it's a Hellenic island. For the Turkish Cypriots, it's an island where we can both live, accepting each other for who we are and respecting each other for who we are, rather than trying to dominate us. That's what the Greek Cypriots are trying to do. And it's very easy for us to criticize the Greek Cypriots. We have every reason to criticize the Greek Cypriots because they have been doing injustice to us from day one to this day. But the real parties to be criticized and condemned is the international community led by the UN Security Council P5 and the European Union, who have allowed the Greek Cypriots to get away with murder. It's these actors that have given the Greek Cypriots the opportunity to impose embargoes against us. You are not aware of the extent of the embargoes we are faced with. A very simple example, sportive embargoes. I will not get too much into detail about political embargoes. That's very obvious. But sportive embargoes. We are in our motherland, Turkey. We are Turks who live on the island of Cyprus. There is no Cypriot nation. The Republic of Cyprus, when it existed legitimately from 1960 to 1963, had the citizens of the Republic of Cyprus, but not a nation of Cypriots. The Republic of Cyprus, at its establishment, and to this very day, has no national anthem. I'm sure no one here is aware of this detail. The so-called Republic of Cyprus has no national anthem because there is no nation of Cypriots. The Greek Cypriots were allowed to continue to use the Greek national anthem, and they still do, even though they are internationally recognized. And we obviously use the Turkish national anthem. It's these details, it's these facts vis-à-vis the island of Cyprus and what's called the Cyprus problem that the rest of the world is unaware. No matter how much we try to explain our case, no one is really interested to listen because the P5 have created an atmosphere of misinformation and disinformation. And every one of these P5, United States, United Kingdom, France, Russia, China, each one of these countries has a sphere of influence in the rest of the world. They influence these countries as to how they are going to look at us, the Turkish Cypriots, and our state. And they use the Security Council resolutions to prove their point that they shouldn't be treating the Turkish Cypriot people as a people with their own state. This is injustice itself. This is misrepresentation of reality itself. Because, my dear friends, Security Council resolutions on Cyprus, none of them is binding. Every single one of them are advisory. Countries are not obliged to abide by these resolutions if they don't wish to do so. Perfect example is Turkey. Turkey does not follow Security Council resolutions on Cyprus, does not recognize a Greek Cypriot state as if it is the Republic of Cyprus, recognizes the Turkish Republic of Cyprus, sends an ambassador from Ankara to Lefkoşa, accepts an ambassador from Lefkoşa to Ankara, and we have all sorts of diplomatic relations with Turkey. Yet no one has heard of the United Nations organization implementing any measure against Turkey for not being in line with the Security Council resolutions. But the rest of the international community follows the instructions from their big brothers and sisters, the P5 and the European Union, and they try to avoid dealing with us. The only reason why I am here speaking to you all is because we are in Turkey. Don't think that the international platform makes it easy for us or makes it possible for us to come up to the stage and try to present our case to them. Quite to the contrary. Everything is done to prevent us from sharing the realities of our island and state with them. And at the end of the day, I have been asking for many years, because I have been in this position as foreign minister for many, many years, what wrong have we done to deserve this? A football team from North Cyprus, my dear friends, a football team, or a basketball team, or a volleyball team, any activity. We cannot even play a football game, a friendly football game, with a team from Turkey. Can you imagine? We are Turkish Cypriots. We are Turks who live on the island of Cyprus. Our national anthem is the Turkish national anthem. Our national flag is the Turkish flag. We have the state flag of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, of course. But that flag was accepted in 1983 with the proclamation of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. Before then, and all throughout our history, we've known one national flag. Even during the British colonial period, Turkish Cypriots believed in the Turkish flag, because that's our national flag. It's these details that I wanted to share with you all, quite different from what you've heard on this platform for the past 2 days, but I think I have done ourselves and yourselves justice by trying to share the injustices, the misinformation, the disinformation, the embargoes, the discrimination, intentional discrimination against the Turkish Cypriot people for having committed no crime. We have committed no crime. We have stood up to a people who have tried to annihilate Turkish Cypriot existence on the island of Cyprus. We have prevented them. If, having prevented the Greek Cypriots from turning the island of Cyprus into a Greek Cyprus, if that is a mistake, then we are proud to have made that mistake. We shall continue to make that mistake. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Look, I didn't want to interrupt you there, because you've been given this platform at the summit, and I think you gave the audience there an eloquent version of what the situation is, the role of history, the frustration that you feel. I think the audience certainly got that in terms of how communication is difficult, how your position is felt on the international stage, and also the communication difficulties that you find on the island. So I think hopefully being at a conference like this, you're able to share ideas and suggestions to improve that discourse on the island,
Sure.
and maybe with that international audience. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll have to leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you.